3.2 is finally here. And with that, let's go on with exactly what we're going to see in 3.2. First of all, God skins that we're going to see in the game. 2 new skins coming at you, both tier 2s. So if you've not got much gems, at least you can be able to get one of these. First of all, we're going to see the Arcane Assassin Bastet tier 2 skin on your screen right about now. And as you can see, lovely new armor additions for her and her kitties. Lovely little addition there for the Bastet. And alongside that, we will also see the Armored Scurrier or Ratatoska. Yes, he himself, the god that exists in the game that people say doesn't exist, but he actually does exist. He has a new skin as well. Nice little leather armor attached to him as well. He almost looks a bit like a pilot. It's not a bad situation for the young Ratatoska, so I hope you enjoy that skin as well. Next, let's go on to balance. Now, before we do that, let's just have a little talk about balance for a second. Let you all realize we're not making huge adjustments just yet. We want to see how they're going to play out in 3.2. Expect potentially more changes, though, in 3.3 onwards in terms of adjustments to the item state. We're basically going through those items and just making sure and seeing how they play on live at the moment, because everybody, well, nobody really knows exactly what the meta is right now, and so we need to give it a little bit more time for that. At least that's what the guys in balance are saying, so that's what we're going to do. Let's go then. First up is Wrath. The relics is what we're going to be looking at first. First of all, Wrath is going to get a new indicator circle. Yeah. Just so you know which minion is going to hit, it's got new effects in terms of, I believe it's sound. No, I don't like new circle pulse effects, yes, and new minion hit effects. Oh, lovely. So we'll know the difference. On top of that, we've also got a little bug fix to Sunder as well. Fixed Sunder is hitting and stopping on minions. Sunder should stop on the first god hit. There you go. It'll pass through minions now, makes it even more viable. Onwards to the next item. Items is where we're going to be going next, is Oni Hunter's Garb. We fixed an issue where stacks would not be removed upon taking magical damage. Look at that. It's working as intended now. Good job, Adventurer's Blade. Well, this one was needed, boys and girls. This one was needed. The tier 2 for Adventurer's Blade now has had the cooldown reduction removed. It had 7% cooldown reduction. It's now got 7% crowd control reduction. Makes sense, right? An item that gives you cooldown and then switches to crowd control didn't make sense. Does now. Job done. Next up, Spear of the Magus. Now, this one has had a lot of different changes to it. Basically, with Season 3, we made a lot of items of specific purposes, especially items that did everything. Spear of the Magus was one of those items that did everything, working well against both low magical protection targets and high magical protection targets. Now we're making it focus just on those low magical protection targets, and as such, we've removed the 10% magical protection reduction per stack. But what we did do is increase the number of stacks to 3 to grant a total of 30 magical protection reduction on that item. So that basically means that squishier targets will be able to be bursted down quicker if they've not got any magical protection because you're shredding straight through it. Dot mages, for the most part, will be the ones that benefit from this the most, such as Poseidon and Agni will make good use of this. However, some of the other mages that can't get 3 stacks as quick, they're probably going to want to look elsewhere for their magical reduction items to get through and deal more damage. Good job. And now, on to map-related changes. That's the end of items there. Only a few minor adjustments to those. And onto the map. Well, first of all, let's go through Conquest, because that's what most people care about. At least, well, that's what you guys in Twitch seem to think. Conquest. The Fire Elementals have a new model. Yes, they will look different. Find out in game. At least we let you know and you didn't complain. That's the main thing. Added some extra foliage to the map because, let's be honest, it didn't look much like a jungle is the best way I can put that. It didn't look like a jungle, so we added some trees to make it more like a jungle. As well as Conquest tutorial fixes, because we all know we like to warm up the day with a nice Conquest tutorial. We did do some changes there. We changed active to relic. It's kind of important considering actives are no longer in the game, and changed lines regarding buff camps and some items. Jolly good. Jolly good. We're on form. After that, we're going to head over to JOUST now and have a little look at the new JOUST changes. There's not monstrous changes here, just some corrections for the most part. We've added the Bull Demon King map marker, as you'll be able to see on your screen exactly what that means. As well as added door animation when the Bull Demon King spawns, because let's be honest, how does he spawn if he doesn't walk through a door? Exactly. Exactly. Just what you guys said in chat. Removed power increase from Bull Demon King buff. So no more power on that buff anymore. It was already good enough anyway. I don't think we needed to have the power on there, so we've taken that one away. However, we did reduce the lifesteal effectiveness from 50% to 25% on the Bull Demon King. So you can't go over there and sustain off him and be able to take it down as easy. We also, though, did reduce the Bull Demon's health in 1v1. For all those dual players out there, you can now take it down probably a little bit easier than you were struggling with before. And that's the end of Joust. Next up is Clash. Remember Clash? We unveiled it and we said we're going to keep it in the game and keep doing iterations to it. Well, here's some iterations coming right at you right now. Clash game mode introduction video has been added to the game. So if you've got new friends and they're playing the game, they can do the introduction video to warm up and understand what the game mode's all about. As well, no, that's it for Clash. But guess what? We've got a new god coming out. Are you ready? Joining me now is HiRezFish.
How's it going?
Most famous of our fishes in terms of design, that's for sure. And you are the one that designed this god, is that correct?
That's right. I'm the designer on HiRezHin.
Awesome. Talk to me about HiRezHin first of all. What's his lore?
Okay. So, it probably goes without saying, but he's from the Japanese pantheon.
Mm-hmm.
He actually has a relationship to Amaterasu. They both have the same mother, and she goes into the underworld after giving birth to one of the gods. And her husband goes in to pull her out, kind of like the Orpheus story. And when he looks at her, she is decayed and stuff, so she pulls out her hair pieces and throws them onto the ground, and they become gods, and HiRezHin is one of them. And so he's kind of, since he's born in the underworld, he's kind of got this demonic appearance.
Okay.
And he is the god of thunder.
Why has he got drums?
That's what makes the thunder noise, is he's up in the sky playing his thunder drums.
Okay.
And in addition to that, he has a pet. He has a pet that named is Raiju, which is very similar. And Raiju hides in people's belly buttons when they're not covered, and then when the thunder happens, Raiju gets scared and like claws his way out, and that causes like lightning scorch marks and stuff. And that's what's happening, is he's taking a nap and then he got scared because of the thunder drums, and he bursts his way out. So
Japan's kind of weird.
A little bit, you know. We all got our weirdness.
Hiding in belly buttons?
I mean, we have people hiding in whales, so you know,
that's true.
What comes around goes around.
That's true. Shout out to Jonah. Wait, is that a leak? Is that a leak? Are we getting Jonah in the game?
I can not speak to that.
Okay, so let's have a little look at this god a little bit more in detail then and see how he's going to be played. First of all, what class is he?
He's a mage.
Okay. We're looking for an extra mage. Is he going to be a high damage dealer, high CC?
What
were we looking for with design with this guy?
He's a little bit utility. He doesn't have some of the highest bursts in the game, but he has competent damage. He's got one of the higher defenses. He's up there with like Junqui and Freya,
okay,
where he can mix it up a little bit. He's got some close range stuff, and he does have a powerful CC, but it's on a very long cooldown because it's on his ultimate.
We'll get to that then and see exactly how that one works out. But the one thing is, you said he's like Junqui. Well, he's a fatty, so he should have probably higher defenses.
Yeah, you know, those extra layers of protection.
Fat guys,
that's right.
Fat guys survive longer, I guarantee you. Most situations, especially in the cold. First of all, then his passive static crescendo. He's gonna HiRezHin drums. Well, not a surprise really. He drums. Yeah,
that's what he does.
He's got a drum kit, guys. That's what he's going to do. He's going to drum and gain static charges as he fires basic attacks and abilities. And when all 4 drums are charged, his next ability does additional damage. Basic attacks grant 1 charge. So, explain this to me. His basically any ability he uses is going to stack this up, and then he's going to do increased damage on the next ability he uses.
That's right.
All basic.
The basic attacks won't apply it, but the basic attacks will build up the charges. Basically, you want to be playing your drums as much as possible. If you are willing to take the move speed penalty for basic attacking nothing, you can build it up before you get to lane and have an extra burst when you start out. If you want to do it before a team fight, you know, you can just have a little extra oomph going in, and then it builds up, and different combinations of abilities will build it up faster. So you can get it a couple times over the course of a team fight to just have a little bit uneven damage timing.
And at the moment, we're going to down 30% of your magical power as well as bonus damage there. It feels like a little bit like a polynomicon, but in reverse.
Yeah.
Instead of like firing ability, then your next auto, it's kind of like you build this up with your basics, and then your next ability will deal more damage.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is that since it's just magical scaling, it really doesn't matter what ability you apply it with.
Okay.
They all do the same amount of damage, regardless of their scaling.
Well, let's go through the abilities then, because they will give static charges, some of them, and we'll explain that to you. The first one is obviously Percussion Storm. Sorry, percussive storm. Should get this right. Raijin pounds his drum, sending forth 4 peals of thunder in a line, each growing wider as it travels. And it's on a 10-second cooldown at the moment, and it's going to grant you 3 charges. So is it 3 charges?
That's right.
3 charges of that passive.
And he's like, okay, he shoots 4 times, but he gets 3 charges. What's the
Yeah,
deal with that?
how's that work?
So he actually shoots in 2 different lines, right? He has his left drum and his right drum. And so first, he hits his left drum, fires a shot. He hits his right drum, it fires a second shot. And then he hits both drums, and it shoots 2 shots at once.
Okay.
So each time he does one of those strikes, left is 1, right is 1, and then both is 1. Each one of those gives him a charge.
It also says as well, this stops on enemy contact.
It does.
So it won't penetrate through enemies. However, it does penetrate through minions.
Yeah, so this is kind of an interesting twist on a line clear and poke tool, because for poking, the projectile actually expands as it travels. So it actually makes it a little easier to hit further distance targets. And then it stops on the first enemy god. So if you're using it to poke, then you can't also use it to line clear unless they're behind. If you can line it up that way, that works too.
And most of the time, they're going to be behind them as well.
Sure.
I mean, probably going to see that. Where do you expect this guy to be played as well? Do you reckon mid or solo? Or a bit of everywhere?
In playtest, we saw him a little bit mid and a little bit solo. I probably suspect him as a kind of an independent solo guy.
Go on to his second ability then, Raiju, which you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
He's going to crawl inside people's belly buttons.
That's right.
He marks an target enemy by dismissing his ally Raiju, who hides in the enemy's navel. While asleep, Raiju reveals the target to Raijin's team on the minimap.
That's right.
So he's got like a tracking device, basically.
Yeah, he's got a little scouting tool, and then when he damages them again, whether it's a best attack or ability...
Oh, it's both?
Either one, yeah.
Okay.
Any way he damages him, but it has to be him. It can't be a teammate. The next time he damages them, that startles Raiju awake, and he bursts out, dealing damage to that target as well as enemies nearby. Kind of like chain lightning, but it never bounces back.
Oh, so it will actually deal to a whole team in a team fight as well.
That's right.
That's pretty effective, especially in close quarters combat sometimes.
And it also kind of acts as a pseudo CC, because the enemy's teammates won't want to be too close.
That's true.
Because then they're in range of getting hit by Raiju.
Okay, so we'll see how that one works out as well, because it does mark the target, which I think is most interesting, just because it seems very similar to Ho-Yi's mark in terms of how it's applied. Yeah. But then once it's on, it's like it'll stay there, and you can see the whole team can see him, not just Ho-Yi could.
Yep.
In the always. Okay, so there's the 2. The 3 is going to be called Thunder Crash.
This is my favorite ability.
Why?
It feels really good. You kind of like send a bolt of lightning up, then you teleport into the sky, and then you come crashing back down as the thunder. It feels very good.
I don't need to go anymore. He just told you what the ability does, basically.
Yeah. And that's 2 stacks, once for sending the lightning up and once for landing.
Just steal
for
my
your
job.
basics. Yeah.
Just leave now.
Is it open? I mean,
it's not the hardest job in the world. I just read off a card. Really.
Cool.
You know?
We'll trade.
Yeah.
You can design gods. I'll read cards.
I don't think the community would really like me designing guns. come on, we get some buffs. Anyway, lightning charge. So he does 2 forms of damage here. What he does is he throws down some damage, and he also mezzes there. Is that correct?
That's right. The first strike is a smaller radius. It's less damage, and it applies a very short mez. And when he lands to do the second damage, it's actually going to break that mez. So it's a very short stun as a catch-up tool. And that's his only CC in his base kit.
And it looks like a teleport is what I can tell here.
Yeah.
It looks like a teleport that he's going to get there. How does that interact with gods like a Wheelix then? Because a Wheelix can like pull certain gods like Scylla and Hades. Is this the same?
Similar to Hades and Scylla, who go underground but are still pullable. He is also, this is technically a leap.
Okay,
so
that's what we want to really work out.
Yep.
Is it a leap? That was a big question. So yes, a Wheelix can interact with this one. And so did mez the target for a short duration and then deal damage on landing. So it's more of it's not like a CC ability really, it's more confirming damage or an escape ability more than anything else.
So you can use it and ignore the mez and just head back towards your base, or you can kind of hit them and use the mez just to catch up until you land.
And you said again, it's going to be 2 charges that stack your passive. So technically you could drum twice, use this to close the gap, and then deal full damage with the extra burst you're going to get from your passive.
That's right.
Genius. And then onto my favorite ability. It looks awesome because he's playing the drums.
He plays the drums.
That's what he does. He's playing the drums. First of all, he'll become CC immune during this as well.
That's right. But not damage immune.
Not damage immune, obviously, but CC immune. He can deal 4. He can do this 4 times. Beat the drum 4 times.
That's right. He gets 4 hits of his drums.
Okay. And there's something special about this ultimate, though, in terms of like how these drums work, right?
That's right. It's a new control scheme that we haven't done before, but basically he has 3 options of types of drums he can hit.
Okay.
And so it replaces his 1, 2, and 3 on the ability bar. And if he just left clicks, it fires the 1, which is full damage, right? It's
full damage, 100% damage.
Long range, high damage, regular Meiji ult. He can also press his 2, which is replaced during the ultimate, to instead fire a half damage shot that also taunts.
Oh. And the range of that is actually really strong.
It's quite long range.
So you can interact with a team fight from miles away, especially because it's a mage because it goes through walls as well.
It does. It's a pass-through projectile, so you can get a huge team fight CC. Each one lasts for half a second, and he gets 4 of them. And they do suffer from diminishing returns. So it's just a little bit less than 2 seconds of taunt.
But that's good because you can fire off the taunt, you can dodge it pretty much effectively. He's not a very fast fighter in projectile,
That's right.
I'd say it's slower than Yarnasol a little bit.
Yeah, it's in that ballpark.
The same sort of ballpark as that, I want to say. And that's going to be the taunt, but then his third option of his ultimate is going to be a fear, which similar to the taunt in terms of 50% less
That's
damage.
right. It's probably the most situational because most of the time you're either probably going to want to pull them into your ultimate, into your team fight with the taunt, or do full damage. But in the situation where he's by himself and his 3 is on cooldown, the 3 actually allows him to do a self-peel because he pushes them away with the fear, creating a little bit of distance while his regular 3 is going on cooldown. So
that makes sense because then you can use your ultimate defensively to fear them away from you, get you some space, you're not taking too much damage, and then wait for your 3 to come back up to teleport away potentially, or go back in and deal more damage.
That's right.
That element sounds really interesting just because it's something different as well.
It is different.
It is still a line skill shot, but at the same time, it's going to have a little bit more interactivity, and it's really his only form of CC is his ultimate.
Yeah, and it's on a nice long cooldown, which I think is currently 90 seconds. So you really have to choose, every minute and a half, do I want to deal this mage ultimate level damage, or do I want to CC instead? Because I can't do both.
I want to check something with you as well. The passive, now when the passive's stacked and you use your ultimate, is it just the first shot that gets additional damage?
Any ability. If you
not the other shots though.
Nope, just the first shot.
Just wanted to make sure because I was like, ooh.
Same with the 1. The 1, it does it on the first shot. The 2, it does it on the initial burst on the target.
Okay. And if you miss, it's gone as well, right? Or does it stay?
That's right. No, if you miss, well, it depends on which ability, right?
Okay.
If you miss and don't trigger the 2, it'll wait around as long as the mark's there. If you miss with the first shot of the 1 or the ult, it's gone.
Okay, because I was thinking about the 1 initial. You missed the first 2 on purpose and then deal the double shot and land that instead.
Just that first projectile.
Doesn't work. Well, that's the new god. I mean, are you excited for him?
I'm really excited. This is the first god of the Japanese pantheon, which I'm super excited about, that I got to design. Are the ones Amaterasu was designed by our new designer, AJ. So I'm really excited about this.
So we got any more Japanese gods lined up?
We might. I don't know. I can't say.
Why not?
I don't know. The big designers don't tell me these things, so sorry, guys.
Little fish in a big pond. That's him.
And little Hindu across the pond.
I'm not across the pond anymore. I'm here.
Well, but you crossed the pond to get here.
I did cross the pond. That's true. I'm across the pond now, guys. And with that, that's pretty much the end of the patch notes. As we said, there wasn't many balance changes this time around. We want to see how things are going to develop in 3.2 with this patch. In 3.3 onwards, you may see some more balance adjustments going on. But we will see Raiju in-game very, very shortly. You guys can give him a test out. And I'm excited to see some potential crazy skins because we've got a drummer in the game. Any final thoughts, Fish?
By all means, give us your feedback. I'm HiRezFish on Twitter.
Feedback.
Yeah.
Promote himself.
We'd love to hear.
And Fish does actually respond to your tweets as well if you guys are asking. HiRezFish will get back to you with his views on things. If you've got any questions, you can ask him directly, especially if you think the god is OP or underpowered.
Which I'm sure you do.
Of course they do. It's Reddit and the community. Anyway, with that, we'll close the patch notes for today. Have a wonderful time. Look after yourselves, and we'll see you all again for 3.3.
Cause nothing is stopping you. You could set the won't catch you now.